When I was in 8th grade, I got really upset with my best friend, Sylvia, and ended up doing something that turned against me in the most disturbing way. We used to be as close as twins, to the extent that most people around us actually thought that we were sisters. We dressed the same, talked the same, and had the same dreams and goals. But then, I started noticing little changes about her. She started spending a lot of time with a classmate called David. She would dress differently, and during lunchtime, she sat down with David's group rather than me. It seemed like she had forgotten about me within a month or two, and that made me feel horrible. I'd known Sylvia since kindergarten, and it was very disturbing for me to feel ignored by her. I grew angrier every day, seeing her laugh with David and not even look my way. I tried to join their chats during breaks, but they would just carry on about a topic that didn't concern me. It was as if I was invisible to them. I figured Sylvia must have a crush on David, hence her near obsession with him. So I did some digging, and I found out David actually had a girlfriend, or at least a girl he would smooch with around the school. Her name was Vivi, and I found her and asked her if she wasn't bothered by David's friendship with Sylvia. It turns out it did bother her, but she was too shy to confront David. I began turning her against David, and we became a sort of David and Sylvia hate team. If they would sit together during lunch, we would too, and would make fun of them together. I guess I was feeling pretty guilty about it, but I was also very angry at Sylvia, and I wasn't aware how much harm I could do with this feeling. At one point, Vivi and I got an idea to get our ultimate revenge on the two. We created a fake Instagram account, and we called it Andy's Real Talk, using a random boy's name as a cover. We followed everyone we knew in our school so that they would follow us back. Then we uploaded a couple of posts in which we insulted Sylvia and David. We lied about them having an affair and invented embarrassing facts about them. I even wrote about a family secret Sylvia had about her parents having affairs and said that's why she didn't have a moral compass. As soon as we released these posts and hashtagged them so the whole school would see them, I realized this was a big mistake. I'd just hurt my best friend, and the damage was irreparable. Within a day or two, everyone around me at school was trash-talking Sylvia and David. They were laughing at them in the hallways, and they were spreading even worse rumors about them. I spoke to Vivi and told her I felt bad for doing this, and I suggested that we should delete Andy's Real Talk. But Vivi had discovered a new side to herself, one in which she had control over something. She said that she was feeling cool for the first time, after years of being called a nerd, and she liked this sort of power. As we made the account together, I couldn't just delete it myself, so all I could do was sit on the side and see the horrible results of my actions. Sylvia was getting bullied by our classmates, and David even got into a fight with an older kid who accused him of some horrible things. When Vivi posted another image insulting Sylvia and David, I urged her to delete the account and told her I couldn't hang out with her anymore if she didn't. She didn't, and because she was angry at me too, she posted something about me on our fake account. She said I was really bad at keeping friends and that everyone should stay away from me. For the next few days, I was the loneliest I've ever been in my life. No one would talk to me, and I was ashamed to talk to Sylvia now. Then one morning at school, I heard the teacher speak to the head teacher, very worried about something. David hadn't come to school, and his parents said he left home early in the morning. The news spread quickly among students, and before long, Vivi, a few others, and I were following Sylvia to the train tracks close to the school. Sylvia was crying, and I was certain something horrible had happened or was about to happen. We found David lying on the tracks. When he saw us, he barely lifted his head. It was horrifying to see such a young boy devoid of hope. It made me feel sick with guilt and shocked that my stupid idea could lead to something so bad. Sylvia rushed to get David off the tracks, and I ran over to help too. Sylvia elbowed me in the stomach to keep at a distance. I looked at her, confused, and that's when she burst out, "Don't you think I know who Andy's Real Talk is? Who else knew my family secrets? What are you playing at?" I really didn't know what to say to this. I'd never felt that bad in my life. I started crying and apologized for everything. I told Sylvia that I felt angry at her ignoring me and that I just wanted us to be friends. It all escalated quickly, and I had no idea what damage those Instagram posts would do. Seeing David the way he was, Vivi started to feel guilty too, and she joined the conversation. She explained that the last few posts were hers, and even tried protecting me so that Sylvia wouldn't be too upset. Of course, she was upset with me for months, but she understood how she was wrong to shut me out and slowly let me back into her life as her best friend. However, not one day passes without me thinking of how a boy almost took his life because of a fake Instagram account I decided to make one day. I encouraged other kids to bully a vulnerable teen, and I will have to live with the guilt forever. When I turned 11, my mom got me a new smartphone. It was the first proper one, really, and I was pretty excited to use it. My mom and I didn't speak much at that time. She was working night shifts as a nurse, and we would rarely see each other for more than a quick dinner after I came home from school. At school, I didn't have a lot of friends either. I was pretty shy, and I preferred chatting to one person at a time rather than playing soccer with all the boys. And with my new phone, my schedule was practically filled. As soon as I came home from school, I just wanted to play on my phone. Before long, I had an account on every social media page. TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. So one day, I was home alone and I noticed a follow request on Instagram. It was from an account called Cynthia_10. I clicked on it and I got pretty excited. It was a beautiful girl, maybe a few years older than me. She had amazing pictures from all over the world, and she seemed very popular, at least online. I followed her back and spent some good time scrolling through her posts. Maybe an hour later, she DM'd me. She said, "Give me a shout out on your page and I will guess who you are." I was intrigued, but I guess I was too young to confront her and ask her what she meant by that. I just wanted to see what would happen. So I reposted something from her page and tagged her in a post. I was genuinely curious to what this would lead to and didn't think for a second of the consequences this could have. I went to bed, and as soon as I woke up the next day, I checked my phone. My heart stopped. Something wasn't right at all. Cynthia had posted a photo of me walking to school taken just a few days back, as I recognized my clothes from that day. Under the picture, the caption read my name, my age, my birthday, and my address. I had no idea how that person got their hands on all that information. It really creeped me out that this post was now public. Who knew how many people had already seen the caption? I reported the post and blocked Cynthia. My mom hadn't come home yet, and I had to go to school. However, I was too afraid to go. I thought of children bullying me, making fun of me for being made public like that, or telling me I'm stupid. I chose to stay home and wait for Mom to get back. I had no idea how she would react to everything, but I was now terrified of this Cynthia. About an hour later, someone knocked on the door. This was the time my mom would usually get back from the hospital, and I figured she must have forgotten her keys or something, so I went to the door. I unlocked it, and 3 older teens came into the house, pushing me over and laughing. I shouted at them to stop, but I knew they wouldn't. I also knew this was my fault. Because I entertained Cynthia with my shout out, now people knew where I lived and they could just come on in, especially if I was dumb enough to open the door. The boys smashed the vase and stole some jewelry from my mom's drawers. I felt sick watching them and realizing there was nothing I could do. Well, almost nothing. I ran upstairs, got my phone, and called the police. The 3 boys were too busy laughing to realize I'd gone upstairs, and the police caught them just as they were stuffing their backpacks with stolen goods. While the police were arresting the kids, my mom arrived home. She was completely shocked by the scene. I was frozen in a corner, and 2 policemen were arresting the 3 older kids. I had to tell her the whole story, and my mom made sure the police listened to the story about Cynthia. They ended up doing a background research on the account and found it was one of our neighbors, a middle-aged man we would call Mr. Bradley, who had several fake accounts and a tendency to spy on kids. He is now in custody too. I was so embarrassed about the situation I'd gotten myself in that I offered my smartphone back to my mom. She told me it wasn't my fault and that I should just be more careful who I talked to online. While I'm grateful for my understanding mom, this experience was truly disturbing and left me very cautious on social media platforms. Last year, a series of very disturbing events happened in my small town in Oregon. I was a college freshman and it was close to Christmas. One day, I heard some worrying news. One of our colleagues, Lily, had disappeared. Nobody had seen her for days, and a search party was looking all over town. Then, the worst happened. The police found Lily's body in some bushes in a forest just outside town. She was declared and everyone at college started talking about what had really happened. The police were looking for cooperating students too, and a few of Lily's friends came forward. They all mentioned Bob, Lily's ex-boyfriend, who was supposedly the last person to see her. The police looked for Bob, but he was nowhere to be found. More and more, it looked like Bob was the prime suspect in Lily's death. When the police went to his address, all they found was Bob's mother, who was very adamant she hadn't seen him the last week either. This information spread quickly through my college, and I was sure something was off about Bob's absence. I looked up Lily's name on Instagram and nearly dropped my phone when I saw the latest posts mentioning her name. An Instagram page titled Lily B showed fresh posts of Lily alive and well days after the police found her dead. One of the pictures showed Lily hiking. Below it, the caption read, "I'm alive and well, I just need some time alone. Please let me be." This was truly strange. If she wanted some time alone, then who had taken her picture hiking? Another picture showed Lily doing yoga in her garden. Trying to put the pieces together, none of this made any sense. Lily couldn't be hiking and at home. Plus, if she was at home, then her family wouldn't be looking into her death with the police. I showed this Instagram page to my two best friends at college, Nate and Danny. They both figured the same thing as me. This was very strange. We decided to go to Bob's house without any police to try and talk to him. Bob lived on the outskirts of town with his mom in a creepy, rundown house. They had a huge pit bull in the yard, but no plants. It was a very sad sight. I was afraid of talking to Bob or his mother, but I had my two best friends with me, who happened to be two tall guys, so I went through with the plan. We rang the doorbell twice. Then finally, Bob's mom appeared in the doorway while the pit bull was barking. "What do you want?" she asked with a hoarse voice. I don't think I've ever seen a woman looking meaner than she did. "We were wondering if Bob came home," I said politely. "We're his friends and haven't heard from him in a while. I figured if we played his friends, his mom wouldn't associate us with the police or Lily's friends." Bob's mom said, "Wait a second," and went inside the house again, leaving the door ajar. Danny and Nate were pretty hopeful, saying she'd probably gone to get Bob. I was just thinking of what I would actually say to Bob if I saw him. When his mom appeared again with a gun, I felt a knot in my stomach and looked at my friends to see what their reaction was. We were all frozen at Bob's mom's mercy. With her croaked voice, she shouted at us, "Stop bothering my son, and maybe I won't shoot you! Get out of here and never come back!" We ran back to my car and got to my place in the blink of an eye. It was now clear that Bob was guilty for Lily's death, and his mom was covering for him. That night, I looked at Lily's post-mortem Instagram page. There was a new story on. It said, "Thank you all for the support during this difficult time. I need some time away from my family, but I will be okay. Please stop terrorizing Bob and his family, as this will only make things worse. That I promise you." I felt sick reading this message. Not only did it not make any sense, it was also very clear that Bob or his mom were using Lily's image to protect themselves from murdering her. The whole thing was disgusting, to say the least. That evening, I went to the police and told them about the surprise visit my friends and I had paid to Bob's mom. I showed them the Instagram story and said it links perfectly to what his mom had told us earlier. As I was literally looking at the Instagram page at the police station, another post appeared. It was a selfie of Lily, and the caption said, "I'm watching you, leave Bob alone." This made my hands tremble. What kind of sick person would post something like this? Luckily, I was with the police and I showed them the picture. They immediately put out a warrant for Bob and his mom's arrest. They went to their place and only found the mom, who they put in custody. They continued to search for Bob through the night, as his mom kept saying she didn't know where her son was. Early the next morning, the police found Bob dead in his car not far away from where they had found Lily. He had taken his own life the night before, after hearing the police were on his trail. It turns out Lily's fake Instagram account was created by Bob's mom in an attempt to convince the police Lily was okay. It was a desperate attempt, considering Lily's remains had been identified days before. The whole series of events was blood-chilling and pretty traumatic for most of the college kids who knew Lily. The fact that someone made a fake account in her name to protect the person who had killed her is a truly horrifying thought. Whew! Guys, I hope you're being careful online. If you like the story, don't forget to click the thumbs up, and if you can handle it, why not check out the other terrifying stories? So hit subscribe and leave notifications on, so you never miss a new video. Have you done all that? Well, stay safe out there and see you next time.